it was stuff like the behind the scenes, I'd imagine, for you that people don't see and don't understand.
Mate,
they just think
first video, like what I was saying to you before, try to record that first video for Instagram. I nearly smashed my phone up. I think there was about 19 outtakes.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. So this is Chatzzz episode 26. So episode 26, this means that I've been doing these for about a year now, believe it or not, because every other week, 52 weeks in a year. Quick maths. And we've got
on the block.
and we've got a very special guest today, Charbel. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us, mate.
So, I messaged you, I think it was a week or so ago, wasn't it? Just asking if you'd come on, and here we are. So the way we kind of, Dolly, we've got another special guest down here as well. You probably can't see it. The way we do it, and I prepped you as well. I gave you lots of time to prep, and you said you weren't very interested. So tell us your 3 facts about yourself.
So I used to play for Newcastle Falcons rugby, and I lived there for like 4 years and played live on TV for my school on a national final. Fact number 2, I can't remember what it was.
You got the notes, it's fine.
I got the notes. I gave up my career following rugby to do a job that I really just didn't want to do. I had an apprenticeship in electrical engineering, and then I ended up sacking that off and thought I want to do what makes me happy and makes other people happy, and pursued a career in fitness. Nice. And number 3 was I've done my fair bit of travelling around the world, Italy, New Zealand and Thailand. I've lived there and trained in all those countries as well and just learn it.
Nice. So the first one then, playing for Newcastle Falcons, how was that then? Because me growing up, I played rugby at school. Like, I did enjoy it, but I've always preferred football. So how did you find that?
Well, I first went over, got picked up when I was about 15, and it's just like walking into change rooms first time, it's just overwhelming. Like, you're the only one, no one knows you, and everyone just turns around and looks at you like, who's this new lad? So it's just daunting, and then to make it worse, they make you stand on the bench in front of everybody in the change rooms and like introduce yourself and that. So once you get over that, you get to know the lads. It was mint. And then at 16, I got asked to go over and live there in Newcastle and like play over there and train full time. So yeah, it was mint. Absolutely class.
That's cool, because one of the lads I went to school with, he plays for them now, Brett Connon.
Oh yeah, I know Brett.
Yeah.
I know his brothers.
Yeah, so throughout school, I used to play scrum half, he used to play fly half. And it's just mad to think that I played with him and he's playing for... Yeah, I was messaging him the other day on Instagram. I tried to get him on the podcast and he's like, oh, it's not really my thing. I was like, oh, yes, man, come on. So it's a funny one, rugby, isn't it? I think you either get absolutely smashed or it's like a really tight game. There's no in between. Whereas like football is completely different. It doesn't matter how good you are. You can always like nick a win. Whereas in rugby, you can tell the difference. If there's a one weak link, you'll just on it, isn't it?
It's like the ultimate team sport, I think, and as well, like
that's a great way to put it.
You have to go backwards to go forwards. Like you can't pass the ball forwards. You've got to pass it backwards. So it just shows how together you need to be as a group to like. Being the ball's going backwards and you go forward, if that makes sense. Yeah,
because in football you can just pass it to the guy who's the best and then he'll like do whatever and score, whereas rugby it's not like that at all, is it?
It's a collision as well, man. Like I've been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu lately, and obviously that's a combat sport, but the collision in rugby, like nothing compares. Like, it's brutal. Like
it's physically
demanding.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot harder than football in a different way. Football's more, I don't know, I feel like cardiovascular. It's more like sprints and that kind of thing, whereas rugby is just constant, just smashing into each other, which is difficult. And then the second fact, what was the second fact again?
About my career, so PT.
Yeah, well, it said how you went in to do something that you didn't enjoy.
I got released off Newcastle when I was 18.
How did that feel?
To be fair, I probably didn't take that too well. Ended up doing some things I probably definitely shouldn't have been doing for like a period of time, going out too much and that, and then kind of like just ended up thinking like I don't even think rugby's for me anymore. Like I'm not too arsed about it. I was more arsed about getting on the piss and that. And then I took this job that I didn't want, but I felt like, well, I'm 18 now. I should probably get a job.
Yeah.
Sort that.
Yeah. Trying to get that hopefully. There you go.
Aye, so like I'm 18 now. I should probably get a job. Got a job as an electrical engineer. Hated every second of it. And I just thought, why am I doing this? But I didn't want to do rugby anymore. And then I broke my leg. Like pure bad. Like snapped it in just snapped it in half. Had like a 6-hour surgery. And then that just made a spiral even more. And then after that, I was like, you know what, I don't want to feel shit about myself and I don't want other people to feel like this. So what have I always done in my life? Fitness. So I was like, PT. Makes sense, make people feel good about themselves, kind of thing.
Just made sense then. All right, cool. And then the last one was you like travelling.
Yeah.
Have you always liked travelling since you were little, or was it just something more recently?
I had to leave home so early at 16. And like I had to do a lot of growing up in those years. So like I remember when I first got to Newcastle at 16, I was like, shit, I'm on my own here. Like, what the fuck do I do? And then from there, it was like, oh, I want to go there now. So I went to New Zealand, went to Italy, went to Thailand, and it's just like an addiction, isn't it? You just want to go and experience more and more and more. Yeah.
A lot of people, they don't realise there's a big world out there, do they?
Yeah. And that's why I always try and encourage people. Like if they say, oh, well, I want to go travelling, and I'm just like, well, just do it. Like you've got to take the rough with the smooth as well. If you go travelling, you're going to be skint. Yeah. Because you can't work and whatever. But like the experiences you get from it are just last a lifetime.
Yeah. Because even like me and my mate, he worked for Aldi for like, since he finished school, when he was like 18. For like, I don't know, it must have been 7 years or something like that. And he said, oh, I hate my job, I just want to quit. And he'd never moved away from home and stuff. So I said, oh, well, we can just go travelling if you want, you know what I mean? So when it was lockdown, what year was it? Was it last year? 2021.
2021 was in lockdown,
and we were going to go in April, but because of COVID, we pushed it back to September. And then we just went around Europe for like 4 months, you know what I mean? So he had like, since November, I think we had the idea, and then to September, so he had like 10 months to plan. But I was in a lucky position that I can work from a laptop, so I could still earn some money and stuff. So, but yeah, like you say, it's difficult if you can't do that, because then you have to save up, and then you just see the money pot going down. But I think it's important for people to move away from home, even if it is just for a few months, isn't it? To realise that there is more to the hometown or home city. Put yourself out your comfort zone, meet new people and meet new friends. Because you just got back. Well. Yeah, you've just been back from Thailand, have you?
Oh yeah, like I've met mates for life over there. It's just amazing. Like just even like the Thai culture, like not really knowing what it was going to be like. Like I didn't know whether they would like resent Westerners or whatever. But like everyone was just so welcoming. Like never felt like out of place or anything. Just such a nice culture. I'm so glad I've been able to experience that as well.
Yeah, I haven't yet. I want to go to Bali.
Yeah, I'd like to do Bali. That's on the list.
But I feel like for me, I don't really go on long holidays.
Yeah,
I don't know. At the moment, I'm just like, oh, I'll go there for like 4 days or 5 days.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I need to get back to work, but I'll still take my laptop anyway. But I feel like Bali, you need to go for at least a couple of weeks, don't you? And just chill out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a place I want to go. It's probably the next place I want to go, because at the moment I've just been going to the same places over and over again. It's a bit repetitive. But I'm quite like a creature of habit. If I like something, I'll do it again. Yeah. Even like my eating routine, I eat the same food. Yeah. Breakfast and lunch and stuff, have different teas, but yeah. Anyway, so what was it like growing up then for you? Obviously, you said you played rugby and stuff. But
growing up, like when I was obviously like an actual child, I was probably like I was a bit of an introvert, to be fair. Like I wasn't really very outgoing. But then when I got to about when did I start playing rugby? About 13, 14, say 14, like properly playing rugby. Just gained a lot of confidence from that, and then started to like grow in that regard, and then just threw everything into playing that sport. And my goal was to be a professional rugby player at the time, so I was very driven at that point to do that. Yeah,
because I think a few other people that I've spoken to on the podcast that have got their own thing going on, their own business, they say they're quite introverted when they were growing up and found that like sports helped them, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I always think something kind of brings you out your shell, almost. Especially
if you're good at it as well.
Yeah, it gives you that confidence, like to know, like, oh, I am I know it sounds cocky, but like, oh, I am better at something than other people, and that does just, it makes you feel good. If you're good at something, like, it makes you feel better, doesn't it? You get confidence.
Because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying something along the lines of, I can't remember the exact quote, but when you're at school, it's like, if you're fast, or you're the fastest person at school, you're like the coolest kid, isn't it? And then all the girls want to like speak to you and stuff like that. And like speed's like currency. It's the same in like sports, isn't it? Yeah. If you're good at football or rugby, then you're automatically cool, or like people respect you and that kind of thing. Whereas a lot of people, when they get older, go to the gym, don't they, for confidence and that kind of thing. So I think it's important to do team sports. I was speaking on the podcast yesterday.
It teaches you how to like be around people as well. It teaches you teamwork, like, and how to actually like speak about problems as well.
Yeah, communication. 100%.
Yeah, communication skills are massive.
And they're the things you pick up when you're little, or like a teenager, that you don't like think of at the time, that you're learning, like a skill, isn't it, that you use in later life. And if maybe you are captain of the team or something like that, then that helps you.
It's a bit of responsibility as well, like a bit of accountability for each other. I've always found like you never want to let your mate down.
No.
So like you work that little bit harder for them when you're on the pitch with them. You don't want them to be like in the shit or whatever.
So did you enjoy school then, or not really? Was it the academics or the sports side, or where did you kind of?
I wouldn't say like I disliked it. Like I wouldn't. I'm not like one of these people. I say, oh, I'd love to come back to school. I couldn't think of anything worse. I hate regimented routine. Like, having to be somewhere at that time and like getting like told, oh, you need to be there at that time. That's like, obviously, like your memories with your mates and that are absolutely class, aren't they?
Oh, that's the one thing I'd go back at the time when you're in the common room and you're thinking, this is so shit. I hate school.
Like, when you actually think back,
how often are you in the same room as your friends from school now?
Well, now
never.
Rare. Like
maybe Christmas.
My mate I was literally about to say Christmas is like, cause quite a few of us have lived away or are living away. The only time we're actually all in the same room together is Christmas Eve. It's like, why do we not do this more?
Yeah,
we used to do it every day.
Yeah, it's because you get busy, isn't it? And life happens and stuff. So then, what was kind of like the thought process going through school? Was it always, well, like you say, you started playing rugby properly when you were like 14, 15?
Properly about 14.
So before that, had you had any aspirations or any goals or anything like that, or were you just kind of just coasting through?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Like,
all them hits to the head in rugby.
Yeah, I've had the fair share, right? Like, sometimes my memory now is so bad. Like, I write stuff on my hands all the time. I like, that's my earliest kind of memory of having a goal. Just like 14, saying I want to play rugby professionally.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything prior to that.
And then what was the feeling like then when you got picked up from the Falcons then?
Oh, like crazy, like euphoric. Because I'd worked so hard for it, and there was a few players in and around the county that I knew pretty well, and they were all getting picked up for it. And I was always like, oh, why am I not getting picked? Like, what am I doing wrong? And then when you eventually get like that phone call or email, I can't remember what it was, I was just ecstatic, like 15 years old. I was like, I made it, like, fucking run home to my mum to tell her.
Yeah, because when I was, say, 9, I think I was 9, I got signed for Carlisle United, the football, and I played for them for however many years, like 6 years, and that was like a dream come true, but the longer I went on, the longer I enjoyed it less. I got put in defence and stuff, and then I got released, but I was still devastated. You know what I mean, it's always my dream to be a footballer. But it is hard. It's hard work, isn't it? Because like you say, I'd imagine for you, what was it like going to the Falcons and realising maybe you weren't like the best player or those other people?
It's a shock to the system, like, because I think everyone who gets selected initially, you're the best in your own team or your county or whatever, and then you go into an environment where it's like, these boys are just as good as me, and a lot of them are a lot better. So it's like, right, I've upped my game to get selected. I'm like, and then you realise I'm nowhere near where I need to be. I need to up my level again and again and again and again to keep improving, or I'm not going to be here for very long. Yeah, that was the big one. Like, that was a big shock.
Especially when you're so young as well, you don't realise, do you, like how good other people are? Yeah, you're in your little bubble.
Definitely affects like your mentality towards things, because you're in constant comparison mode. You're always comparing yourself to somebody else. It's like you're never what's the word, like happy with
satisfied.
Yeah, never satisfied. You're always wanting to be better. Like you see someone do something good, it's like, fuck, I need to do that now.
Yeah.
Coach, look at this.
Yeah. It's a bit of a curse, isn't it?
Yeah.
And especially when you're so young, and sports seems to be such an opinionated thing, isn't it?
Oh.
Like one coach, the Falcons coach, I don't know, could think, yeah, amazing. The other one could think, you're the worst.
It's the
whatever.
player the coach wants as well, and what the player fits into too. Yeah, definitely.
And then what was kind of like the journey then through the Falcons until?
My first proper year over there, so 16 and 17, I had a really good season. To be fair, I was playing well, playing national final on telly, scored in that one.
What position did you play?
Wing.
Oh, nice.
But then I broke my hand like really badly in that game and didn't get found until 6 weeks later, so my hand was just mangled. So I missed the rest of that season, and then came back the season after, and I just wasn't the same. Like I had a few good games and good spells, but then it just kind of like dropped. And then when I seen myself starting to drop, I wasn't getting picked for many games. I just started to get frustrated, and rather than thinking, right, work harder, do this, do that, I just got fed up, and I was like, right, I'll just go on the sesh, basically.
Yeah.
And then I got released, and that just spiraled even more.
Because a few people have done that I know anyway. Football, I think, not rugby, but like you say, it's difficult, isn't it? Because when you don't feel good enough, then what else is there to do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like it's like a coping mechanism, I guess.
Escapism kind of thing.
Yeah, basically, because you just, like, when you see your name not on the team sheet, it's like, I've grafted my ass off this week. And you thoroughly believe you should be in the team. Everyone does, whether you should be or not. And then you're like, right, sod it. I'm going for pints with the boys on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's hard. Like,
yeah. What was it kind of like for you mentally then going through that at such a young age as well?
Bad. And that's kind of like why I wanted to get into fitness as well, to help people who are potentially in similar situations, because there's no support that way. I don't think in any real youth sport, when you get released, there's no like, oh, how are you doing with everything? Because it is a big change. You're going from thinking you're going to be a professional rugby player to nothing. That's like quite hard to deal with. Especially
at such a young age as well, because you take it personally, don't you?
You think, oh, why me? Like, really, just because you weren't right or you weren't ready. Yeah.
So then, after you got released, then what were you kind of thinking? You said you wanted to get a job. Was it always you wanted to get a job, or was it just I need to earn some money, whatever way you can?
Like, you need to work, don't you? You need to have some form of income. So I was like, right, I'll look at a few apprenticeships, because I knew uni wasn't for me. I'd just be pissing up alone up the wall.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Bet you had a good time though.
Oh, unbelievable. Best 4 years of my life.
Where did you go?
Cardiff.
Oh, I bet that was mint.
I was like, where's probably one of the furthest place away from home I could go? Cardiff, yeah. And yeah, like I'd recommend it to anyone, like just to refresh you. You know what I mean? Like if you haven't moved away from home, like say
it's a great opportunity.
You grew as a person when you went to do rugby at 16, didn't you?
Yeah.
For me, when I was 18, I just wanted to go out every weekend, and yeah, I still did that at uni. But when my dad left me in my halls, I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I have to cook and clean and wash and get the shopping and manage like your schedule, like go to lectures, ones that you did go to, and do assignments and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was
shock to the system, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't use my degree now, which is pointless. But
what did you do it in?
Hospitality management. I was going to go work in hotels, but yeah, did events instead. So sorry, carry on.
It's all right, I can't remember.
So then we were saying about you just wanted to get a job and some money.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I got a job as an electrical engineer, and like even like in the interview, I was like, I don't want this. It's like, what am I doing? And I ended up getting offered the job.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I ended up getting offered the job, and I just took it because I was like, I need to make money, I need to work.
Yeah.
And then eventually I ended up just sacking it off. I was like, I can't do something I don't want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's two kinds of people, isn't there? Really, one person who'll go to work just for the money, don't care what they do, and then one person that would just go to work because they enjoy it, and maybe they don't get paid as much, but they do actually enjoy it. You spend so much time at work, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's like most of your week and most of your life.
What was it like getting up for work every day then when you just didn't want to go?
Like, I couldn't get out of bed. It was like, why am I doing this again? It was just the routine was just sending us mad. Like those 8 hours out of the day, I was just like counting, like clock watching all the time.
That's the worst.
I think it's just like personally, like money doesn't make me particularly happy. Like I'm not that into like cars or anything like that. So to be in a job that is like quite money driven, it's like probably not a good situation for me. Like I'm not getting any reward out of it anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas some people might be into the cars and like their job can fund that, and that's fair crack. That's mint. But I'm more on about like I'd rather have enough time to train in the day or go somewhere, have the flexibility to travel, like be around people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, I don't know, I said it on a couple of podcasts, well, Yusuf's podcast, and he was saying that people that aspire to say the materialistic stuff, or like they want to earn like 100 grand a year or something like that, they'll never be happy because it'll just be the next goal, the next thing that they want to buy and that kind of thing. And you do find that the people that care, well, I find people that care about the materialistic stuff or the money that you earn are the ones, they don't envy that of you, they envy your freedom that you're able to do within reason, obviously. Like you still have to train your clients and stuff. I still have to talk to my clients and stuff, but you've got that freedom to do what you want within reason, isn't it? And that's what everyone aspires to. It's
like
not,
I can control my day just like
exactly.
you can.
Yeah.
And then you can do what you want with your day.
Exactly. And I feel like, obviously some people do earn loads of money, but where I'm at, it's just like the freedom thing for me. Like I don't really, if I earn a bit more money, that's great, but I can do what I want within reason, and it's sound I'm happy enough.
That's kind of like the level I'm on, to be fair.
So then when you quit that, then what were you kind of thinking? Was that on mic all right?
No, it's all right.
What were you kind of thinking then after that? I know you said that you wanted, did you just have like a complete rethink, or
as when I was getting back into fitness?
Yeah, so you said you quit the job, and then
basically,
what was the thought process?
I just signed up to a personal training qualification, and then I did that, and I was like, right, might as well start using it. So I set up my business at 19, just on the side, and I was like, right, well, how do I even price things? So I was doing like hours sessions for like £10-15, and it just grew from there, and like, to be fair, it's carried on growing, luckily. It's a really hard industry to actually do well in, the fitness industry. You see so many PTs just do 6 months and then you never hear from them again. I've been one of the lucky ones that my business actually stayed around for a while, so I'm quite chuffed with myself in that regard, to be fair.
I hate the word lucky, because you're not lucky. You have to still put yourself in that situation on a consistent basis to get that luck, you know what I mean? Whereas I think when people say, "Oh, you're so lucky," it's like you don't see the hard work that you put in behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and stuff.
definitely.
So don't be hard on yourself when you say you're lucky, because you're not. So then, why did you want to do personal training then? What appealed to you with that course?
The root of it was because I broke my leg and I felt so shit in myself. Like I just hated like feeling that bad about my own body and that. And I was like, people feel like this on a daily basis. Like they're not happy with how they look. They're not happy that they can't train. Like they can't run around with the kids in the garden. That's making them feel shit. It's like, I've had to get through that, which was awful. Like surely I can use what I've learned from that to help other people be happy in their bodies. Whether that is just getting into the gym, being able to run for 10 minutes with the kids in the garden, lose a load of weight. So it was just because I wanted to make people feel better about themselves, basically.
That's a good way to get into it, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I was 18, I wanted to be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because I wanted to be in shape and look cool and get loads of girls and stuff. But I went to uni instead. So then, because another podcast I did with Ellis in Cardiff, and he said he saw like a personal training course and it was like earning like 40 grand a year if you sign up.
Oh, he was 40 grand straight away, like still waiting for mine.
and that kind of thing. That's why he signed up. I think it was with like a commercial gym or something like that. So what would you say the reality was? What you expected, the actual reality when you first signed up to the course, or how did it go?
Well, the course,
what was the process?
A complete load of toffee. Like the course does not prep you for anything in the real world of like fitness. Like even like the sciencey stuff that the teacher, like that's all like basically proven wrong half of it. It's not practiced anymore. They don't teach you how to like actually speak to a client, do a consultation, like marketing. That's how PTs do well now, is because they can market themselves, and there's nothing like that. So you're chucked in with this course that is a bit wishy-washy into a world where really you've been taught nothing about. So yeah, you have to just learn constantly on the job, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Would you say that the PT world, like training world, is a bit outdated then?
The training
The
world,
course
is definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's common with a lot of things, like, isn't it? Like,
It's
so
so back in the
university
day.
or school and that kind of thing, where they're writing these courses however many years ago, and the world moves so quickly these days, they can't keep up.
Definitely.
And so, what would you have changed in about the course, or what would you have added in if you were writing it?
Well, most PTs are self-employed as well. You're not taught anything about how to be self-employed, like tax and all that stuff. Setting up your own business, getting a business bank account, how to market yourself, how to use Facebook, how to use Instagram. I know that's kind of a different thing altogether, but there should be some form of support there, because then they're just giving you a course and you're just going to get lost and not do anything with it without that. It's 90% marketing now this day and age. You'll know yourself with the line of work you're in. Most professionals know everything on paper, but they can't get it across to potential clients and leads because they don't know how to use social media.
I think that's interesting, isn't it, that you say that? Because, like, say, all the businesses that come to me, it's like, oh yeah, we've got a really good product, really good business, blah blah blah, but nobody knows who we are, nobody knows where we are. I need brand awareness and that kind of thing. And it is such an important aspect of a business, isn't it? Like, you can only get
especially
so far.
now, everything's so visual.
Yeah, if you're not doing videos, then you pretty much fucked these days.
Yeah.
Which is the difficult bit. But then with the course, was it just like an online one, or was it in person?
yeah.
Online?
And then like an in-person assessment.
Was it? That's interesting.
Where the assessors, like, you're looking at them, it's like, how are you assessing? Like, that's not me being thing, but like, I think that, again, in the fitness industry, it should be practice what you preach. And a lot of the time in the industry, people preach, but they don't practice a lot of the time.
So is it literally just like a tick box you need then for the qualification, so you can train people?
It's just
right, okay. Does everybody have it then, or not really?
No,
I was going to say that, because anybody can give out advice, can't they? Really, but
you can,
it's just, if you want to be
with
like
a level
legit.
2, you can basically PT people with the gym's permission. But then to be like an actual, like, sell yourself as a PT, you need the level 3.
Okay. What happens if you don't have it then?
I think it's just if you get caught on that.
Frowned upon. So then, when you finish the qualification, then where were you kind of at with everything? Was that 2019 as well?
2019, yeah.
So then obviously you've done this course, and you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now?
It was I was prepping to go to New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just, at that time, I knew I wanted to do it, but at the time it was like, oh, earn a little bit of extra money before I go to New Zealand. Went to New Zealand, lived there for a bit, and then COVID hit. So then I had to come back home, and then was in lockdown. And then that's when my personal training business actually started to really gain some traction, because I was like, right, I'll start doing online. And for some reason it did really, really well. Yeah. And then came out of lockdown, and then just started working in the tech.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I did another podcast with Ben the other week, and he said his online business started taking off.
I think everyone had so much spare time and
a bit of money as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and like, obviously personal trainers are a luxury, so if you've got a bit of extra income, you can use it on that.
And why do you think they came to you then online in COVID then, compared to somebody else? Because you said that the industry is very saturated.
I don't know, like, my philosophy with it is like, you wouldn't have a driving instructor your whole life. You'd never learn to drive on your own. It should be the same with a PT and fitness. Like, you should come to me to learn everything you need to learn, to then one day be able to do it on yourself. So I think that honesty and like being straight up with people and clients, saying like, I will tell you a few weeks, months down the line that you don't need me anymore. Save you money, whatever. I think that honesty just goes a long way, especially in an industry where it's renowned for backstabbing and snakes.
That's true, isn't it? Because like you say, you could quite easily just take everyone's like 20, 30 quid a week, couldn't you, and just do it forever. But if they're not able to stand on their own 2 feet, then
you've done a very bad job.
Yeah, I suppose you still get clients like that, do you, that still pay you.
Oh yeah, and I think because like you are so honest at the start, they're more inclined to stay with you and be a paying client because they actually start to really enjoy the sessions.
Yeah,
and have the accountability aspect. But it is. I think it's so important to teach all your clients all the skills so they can do it on their own. Like you are just a teacher at the end of the day. Someone comes to you because they can't do what they want to do and they want to get from point A to point B, and if you don't give them skills, they're never going to get there.
Yeah, because like you say about accountability, it's the same for me. Like if maybe my mate isn't going to the gym, I'd be like, oh, I can't bother to go today.
Yeah.
But if he's going, I'd be like, I'm going to go. Same with the PT. If he's waiting for me, I'm going to have to go on. I'm paying for it. I'm going to have to go. And that kind of thing, which is that extra bit of motivation that people maybe need,
Definitely.
isn't it? So, can you remember what your first client was that you signed, or your first? No,
I just did like classes in this little studio. The studio's not even there anymore. Just did like little boot camps and that.
Yeah. What made you want to do that then?
At the time, it was money for New Zealand.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like I probably wasn't confident at the time either, so I was like, right, what would be like quite easy to do as well to like learn how to get better at being a PT. And I thought, right, chuck myself in the deep end, do a class, dealing with loads of people, having to run it smoothly. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I because I was still working as well, I didn't really want to charge people like for a full hour's PT when I didn't really like fully know how I was going to go with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just took the first bit as like a massive learning curve. And I wasn't even charging that much, to be fair, but
just dip your toe in.
Dip my toe in.
And then, so how did it progress then through lockdown? Obviously, you said it took off a bit. So when you started doing the online coaching, obviously you couldn't do the boot camps and stuff. So what was your product, or what were you kind of selling to?
It was just like that what's classic online plan you see now. Like I was selling like a month for like 40 quid, 50 quid, which
affordable.
Yeah, very affordable. And like now, for like PTs or anyone watching it, or anyone who's had online, they'll know that is extremely, extremely cheap. But again, it was just to try and earn a bit of money to get through lockdown, because everyone was skint in my industry, and also just learn how to actually do another skill. Because at that point, I started to feel confident one-to-one teaching, but I didn't have a clue how to do anything online. Like I was like, this is a complete foreign world to me. Like I'm not very good on a phone or like a laptop anyway. So it was just learning another skill so I could help more people. That makes sense. Yeah.
Because even for me, like I used to have just meetings in person with people, like clients and prospects, and you'd go there and you talk to them. And when I had to restart my business again in COVID, when my business partner split up, it was like learn how to sell on Zoom and all that kind of thing. And
it's just a complete different kettle of fish, like.
And it just opens your eyes and it speeds things up, doesn't it? So, yeah, would you ever have thought that you wanted to do like online stuff then, before COVID?
Definitely not. Like even when I was wanting to be a PT, I thought it had just been one-to-one. Like at the start I was thinking, if I can get like 6 clients a day paying 20, 25 quid, like that's me set. I only do 6 hours work a week and I'm earning like 300, 400 quid a week. That was the goal. I was like, that would be mint. I can train when I want. Do 3 in the morning, 3 in the night, and that'd be Barry. But then you realise that's just not the reality, and you need to learn all this other stuff as well.
I suppose, it's the other stuff like the behind the scenes, I'd imagine, for you that people don't see and don't understand.
Mate,
they just think
first video, like what I was saying to you before, try to record that first video for Instagram. I nearly smashed my phone up. I think there was about 19 outtakes.
But it's stuff like that, isn't it? That maybe people would think, oh, he's taken one take for that, or he's just rocked up today and just came up with this plan for me, and or he does all of his self-assessments and stuff like that. And people don't understand that when you are self-employed, there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes.
You know yourself how much an Instagram reel takes to put together. And then when it comes back and you get like 2 likes, you're like, sound. Took us an hour to do that.
It's even worse for us when we present it to a client and they don't like it for the first 10 edits. And you're just like, I've got one nightmare client at the moment. I'm like, oh my God, it's only a social media video. Just let us post it, please. It's not shit. But yeah, so then going for lockdown then, how did you find lockdown then as a whole for you personally?
First one, I thought was mint, eh? It was a mint summer, wasn't it? It was the November one and the January 2021 one that really like fucked me over business wise. Like that November one crippled me for Christmas. And I was like, the November's like the last month as a PT. You've got to make money before Christmas because no one's getting a PT in Christmas.
Yeah.
So that absolutely shafted me. And then again in the January, busiest time for a PT. And yeah, we were locked back down again. So them two were frustrating. But the first one, like, yeah, just...
Did you, apart from obviously learning the skills online and stuff and that kind of side of things, did you learn anything about yourself then, would you say, through lockdown?
I don't really know, to be fair.
No.
The first lockdown was just a piss up, we're not going to lie. Like, I'd never had that much time off before, like, even just off training. Like, I've always trained my whole life, like, so then going into lockdown, having all this free time, it was like, right, I might as well crack a beer open. Do you know, so it was just, I kind of took the first one as like an extended holiday, if you like.
Yeah. I think, well, even for me, I was living in Cardiff and then moved back. I didn't want to live on my own in Cardiff. I moved back with my mum and dad, and I was like, oh, it's 3 weeks of sound. I'll go see my parents and it'll be nice. And then just kept on going and going and going, and you're just like, bloody hell.
I started to lose faith in it all, to be fair, when they opened nightclubs before gyms. And that's when I was like, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, we won't talk too much about it, but yeah, it was all a bit bizarre, really. Yeah. But I think a lot of people found it as a positive, though, I think. At the time, obviously, it was a bit shit for everyone, but I think most people I've spoken to came out the other side better. Like I say, learnt new skills and progressed with the business and they've kind of built a new foundation and stuff. But I suppose it's how you
manage it, isn't it? It's like anything.
And you could have gone 1 or 2 ways, couldn't you? Like you say, you could have drank the whole 2 years and stuff, but you did actually develop and learn
something. It's like I always say to my clients as well, especially when they're doing something they're not as comfortable with. Like, I'll never make a client do anything they don't want to do because, like, at the end of the day, technically they're your boss because they're paying you. But I always say, like, you don't learn to swim in the shallow end. So, like, that's what lockdown was for, like, online training. Like, didn't have a clue, just got chucked into it. And it was just like, if I don't learn how to do it, I'll drown and then my business won't be a business anymore.
Yeah. Because a lot of, like, self-employed people, it was difficult, wasn't it? Because you had to adapt. I found it tough to start off with, and that's why I stopped drinking. It's because I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to fuck myself over and be miserable and get a job, or do I want to actually get my head down and that kind of thing? So yeah, lockdown was good for me, to be fair, personally. But so then when you came out of lockdown, then how's the business kind of progressed? You said it's been going...
It just, like, to be fair, coming out on that April, was it April 12th that came out in 2021? It just boomed, to be fair. Obviously you have your ups and downs like every business does, but yeah, it's stayed steady, and obviously you have your peaks, you have your downs, but yeah, it's been mint.
Yeah. And what have you done differently since you've came out of lockdown? Obviously you can do a lot more in-person ones now than online. Have you kind of kept it the same, or is it more in-person or online? Or?
It's more in-person. Yeah, definitely more in person, and then online's kind of like the side hustle, if you know what I mean. Like, I'll have like 3-4 clients, I'll maybe max it at 6 if I'm doing full-time one-to-ones, because I need to keep the quality of that product high as well. If I'm doing like 12 online and then 30 hours PT a week or whatever, when I'm full busy, like, no one's getting anything out of that if I'm tired and napping all the time. But yeah, like, online's just kind of like the side thing now.
It's an extra stream of income. Yeah. Makes sense, really, isn't it? Like, say, if you're a bit quieter in person, you've got that to pick up. Which makes sense. So where do you kind of see things going then moving forward for the business? Is there any aspirations to open a gym or your own complex?
Oh,
or?
like I think that's every PT's dream, innit? Having your own gym. Like I would love
Studio
that
or
one
something.
day. Yeah. At the moment, it's just like, because obviously I've just come back from Thailand. It's actually just building everything back up again. But everything's gone swimmingly. But yeah, in the long term, I'd love to have my own gym.
Yeah, that'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Like having your own little private studio thing, and like, I imagine it'd be a lot of hard work and expensive, though.
Yeah, and I'd be dead snobby and only want the best of the gear, like 10 grand for a leg press, and we're a bit away from that. Like,
what kind of gym would you have then if you could open it?
It would be Bodytech-esque.
Yeah.
Like I like the retroness, and I'm into, like, I do a lot of strength and conditioning as well for like athletes and fighters. So I'd have a really functional studio for that as well. Yeah, like with a lot of like really advanced stuff in, not just for your normal gym goer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who would you say your ideal client is at the moment? Have you got like a customer avatar or a customer persona or something like that you think you go after, or
my
you help?
strengths as a trainer are weight loss, muscle gain, or strength and conditioning for combat or collision sport athletes. So like I back myself to help anyone, but for example, if someone came to me and was like, I want to get into bodybuilding, I'd be like, I'm not the man for you. Like, go to somebody else, because that's not my strength. But then if someone came to me and said, I want to increase my punch power by 10% and I want my cardio to be absolutely insane when I'm fighting, I'd be like, you start Monday, let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always think you should respect your own boundaries as well. Like I said about, I wouldn't help a bodybuilder. Like, I've never bodybuilded. Like, you'd be wasting your money with me, if you know what I mean. I can help you build muscle and be ripped and lean and stuff like that, but bodybuilding's just a different kettle of fish, as you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd always pass people on to people if I know it's better for the client, better for the person.
Yeah. It's better for your reputation, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Like, there's a lot of PTs who think they're physios as well. It's like, just send them to a physio, mate. They've got a degree for that reason, do you know what I mean?
And I was going to say, it's better to be known, isn't it, for a couple of things and be really good at them, isn't it?
Definitely.
Then like you say, be like, oh, well, I'm just a PT and I can do whatever you want, but you're never like really that good here. Yeah. It's like, say, if you're known for them 3 different styles, at least people, when they think, all right, well, I want to do weight loss or increase my punch power, go to you, rather than like a generic PT who's probably just on the gym floor. Yeah. They don't have a clue what they want to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then at the moment, how do you find most of your clients? Do they come to you, or like you say, you try and do a lot on Instagram, which is quite good. The videos and stuff have improved a lot. You
know yourself from just training in Bodytech, it's not the type of gym where you can work the gym floor. Like, everybody in there knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So all my clients come from social media or like word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you must have definitely found your knack then on social media, if you like to say.
Yeah, I've definitely got better at it. Like, I was horrendous at the start, like absolute sham, but it's definitely got better.
That's what everyone, I think, struggles with, isn't it? They always want to make the first video perfect, but it's not. It's just about like starting, isn't it?
Just consistency.
Yeah,
doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and you will get better.
If you can improve like 1% every time, you'll be absolutely laughing.
Yeah, definitely.
And even say with my business and my clients, our main aim, especially when we first sign them up, the first like photo and video shoot, you say to them, our main aim is just to improve the quality of the content, because the first shoot is a bit difficult, because like we don't know how they're going to work on the first shoot, and they don't know how we're going to work and that kind of thing. And like you say, you have to be confident in your product, and we know that we're going to improve the quality of the content because we can see it on social media. And then the first round of videos may not be perfect.
That teething process though, isn't it? Yeah,
and the first videos may not be perfect and may not be what they want, but at least they can visualize it. And then for the next round, you're thinking, all right, well, that's going to be what we're kind of looking for. And a lot of people are in their heads, aren't they, and thinking, oh, if I post this, what are people going to think about me as well? And
that's the big one I had to like get over. It's like, fuck me, this is an absolute shannon, especially like some like close mates who know me like on like the closest level possible, and like, what you doing? What you doing recording yourself and posting
You need
it on
that, though.
Instagram? Like, getting absolutely ripped to shreds for it, but it's like, it's just good cracking it. And yeah, like, you have to just grow and get over it. Because there's always people that are going to watch your videos and be like, what's he doing? Like slagging you off and that, but I just find it funny now.
You need your friends to knock you down a peg, don't you? If they don't, then you're not your real friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's...
I can remember one time I recorded one, I grow a little bit of a monobrow, right? And I sent it to my mate, the video, I was like, what do you think? He was like, shave your monobrow, you look like a clown. I was like, won't be posting that then.
At least it's honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good that you're putting yourself out your comfort zone, isn't it? Because a lot of people will stay in the shell, won't they?
Yeah.
And that's probably why you've done so well, isn't it? And maybe, like you say, other people in the PT and fitness industry haven't, because they may not put themselves out there, especially in Carlisle. It's such a small place, isn't it?
Yeah.
And would you say there's much competition for personal trainers, or?
I mean, it's probably one of the most saturated industries in the world, especially in the UK. There's always a new PT account popping up on Instagram. But it's always, I find in Carlisle, you always see the same names pop up PT-wise. It's because they've, like what we're saying, they've went out the comfort zone, they've mastered the craft, they've got their ideal clients that come to them, and they've made a name for themselves. So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because even say when I first started going to the gym, I went to Lifestyle when I was younger, like 19 or 20 or something like that. And say the PTs were on the gym floor there, I don't think they're still around now, is it? And they just recycle. And I don't know, do you think there's a mentality or a perception that you're going to be like super rich, super quick if you're going to be a personal trainer then?
Because you think average £35 an hour, it's like, that's mint. But that's just not the reality, because you get paid in blocks, or every month you've got your rent to pay for, bills and that, and it soon knocks down, and you don't just get your income straight away. You pick up 1 or 2 clients one week, and then 1 or 2 clients the next week, and then maybe not pick any up, and then you pick another 3 up, and then you get paid in all these different intervals. So it's definitely not like what you were saying before, it's like, be a PT, earn 40 grand.
Yeah.
Like, if it was that easy, everyone would be a PT.
Yeah. If there was an easy way to make money, everyone would be doing it, wouldn't they?
Exactly. It's like anything, you've got to be good, and you've got to like plan and structure it.
So if anybody was thinking about being a PT, or it was like a thought process, what would you kind of say to them, or would there be any like kind of advice you'd say to them if they wanted to get involved?
Know why you're doing it first. If you want to be a PT purely because you're just into fitness, like, maybe reassess why you're doing it first. You need to have like a proper reason why you want to do the job, because the fitness industry is a hard place to be, and you can start to resent it pretty quickly, especially if you're just into it because you like fitness. You need to know why you want to do it, and just be yourself. Don't get drawn into what other people are doing. It's like, at the start, I always used to worry about what other PTs might think of me, like, oh, why is he doing that? What's he doing this? And then you realise, like, he's never going to buy a plan off me because he's a PT. So you stop worrying about your competition and just start worrying about attracting clients, if that makes sense. So just be original, be you.
That's a good way to put it, because I say it to a lot of people in businesses and stuff, and you say, like, there's so many personal trainers out there, isn't there? But what's the differentiating factor is you. There's only one version of you, isn't there? So you need to put that self across, and you're selling yourself out every single day. And same with me. There's so many like marketing agencies out there, and why do people come to me at the moment? Because it's me, you know what I mean? So yeah, people need to realise that.
And
I think
you get messages off, like, a lot of people, like, who you get the instant message and like, do you want to earn 6 figures this year? And you look at all their clients and all their accounts just look the exact same. It's like, you need to be different, you need to be you if you want to like go far. Like, you look at all the big time PTs now, like the big social media ones, every single one of them is like, they're independent from every other PT. There's no similarities, they're just them, if that makes sense. Yeah,
it's how people can relate to you, isn't it? And that kind of thing. People will relate to you probably differently than they'll relate to me, but that's why, like, you got friends, haven't you? You know what I mean? They like you for some kind of reason, whatever reason it may be. So other people will like you for that kind of reason. If you can put that across on social media, then you'll be onto a winner. So yes, it's a it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's all mental.
Yeah.
And then when you overcome that, then that's when you really flourish. And yeah, people can't really understand that sometimes, I don't think. Which is interesting. So next part of the podcast is biggest mistake. So personal or business life, are you going to do either or both? Or
intertwined, I guess. Like, I don't want to sound like cliche or cringe, but like, I don't really
it's a podcast, don't worry.
I don't really have a mistake. Like, any mistake I've done where I've either been skint, done something I didn't want to, like, thought I wanted to do and didn't, got injured, whatever, it's all like led to this point now with what I'm doing in my life. And I've always learned from all those experiences. Like, how many times I've been injured is a joke. Like, my body's absolutely wrecked from just rugby or jiu-jitsu or whatever. And like, I've always came back from those injuries better than what I was beforehand. Or when I've had like a plan business-wise, and it's like, I thought, oh, this offer will do really well, this deal will do really well, and it hasn't. You have to go back, reassess, and build from there. Yeah, so I just think of like mistakes like lead you to where you are now. The mistakes are what make you grow at the end of the day, and when you fuck up, you either accept that you fucked up and just sack everything off, or you go right, fair crack, I'll reassess and I'll do better next time.
That's a good way to put it. I've only done this question like a couple of times. You're the first person who said that, and I agree that a mistake is only like a mistake if you make it twice. If you do it once, it's a lesson, isn't it? As long as you learn from it, which is fine. But yeah, that's a good mindset to have, definitely. But if I reposition the question in, have you got a biggest regret?
I don't think I do, I'm not just saying that genuinely. Like, everything that's kind of happened in my life, I've like, it's happened, and it's happened for a reason. No, I don't. I was about to say about like rugby back in the day. Like, I wish I maybe didn't go down on that like really aggressive spiral that I went on, but like, it's led us to here. So yeah, it's just how it is.
I think it's one of them things, isn't it? Like you maybe think like I'd maybe think about the football. Or if I tried a bit harder, then where could that have taken me? But yeah, there's that. But then I wouldn't be where I am today, isn't it? And that kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely a good mindset to have, and you don't want to regret anything, or because that's what Mum and Dad always say to me. They say you only regret the things you don't do. Yeah. So like, if there's an opportunity that comes up.
Yeah, and I feel like I've got a very do it mindset. Like, I'd quite happily book a flight now and go somewhere. Like, I think if you've got that like do it attitude, you don't really have many regrets, do you? Because you've always done something. Like, money comes back is what I always say. So if you want to go and do something, go and do it.
I say that to my girlfriend all the time. I said, money comes and goes, and she's like, oh, you don't have that mindset. I'm like, well, it's true though, isn't it?
You come in this world with absolutely fuck all, and you leave with fuck all. So you might as well enjoy the fruits while you can. And if worse comes to worse, I always said, I'll just get a job in a coffee shop if worse comes to worse, and I'll earn some more money. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's like I was saying yesterday, that like you say about the do it mindset and attitude, is that like so many people, I'd imagine maybe to you as well, will say like, oh, I've got this great idea, or this great business idea, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, but never actually like follow through. And they're just maybe trying to impress you with their ideas or their theories or whatever. And it's just like, you would never do that. Nothing wrong with it, but I would rather they went and like, oh, I tried this, or I went there, or I did that, and this is what happened, rather than, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. It's like, you just look like an idiot, basically, don't you? If you don't ever follow through. I'd rather do something
and fail,
and then use it as a lesson, like you say, and then be like, oh well, it's a good experience, but I won't do that again, or whatever. Like, I went to Marbella for a couple of months ago, because my mate lives there, for like business and networking.
Business in Marbella.
Yeah. And it didn't really work out, but I'm glad I did it, because I had the opportunity.
As well, innit?
Yeah, it cost me a bit of money, but at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't, if I didn't do it, I would have been like, oh, I wish I went to Marbella to try and network and business and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like my mate, he's just started his own business in like email marketing and stuff like that. And he's picking up like massive clients in like America and that. I'm like, fair dues, mate. That's absolutely class. You went out your comfort zone. learned something completely new and done something.
Yeah.
And now you're your own boss, doing really well.
And there's so many like opportunities these days with like your phone and your laptop and stuff like that, and it's just you can do it like that if you set
you can be your own boss from your phone.
Yeah, and that's what people want, isn't it?
And I think as well, especially in society, we try like there's a split now between the old way of like working and stuff to like this new style where you can work from home, you can work on your laptop, you can work on your phone, rather than having to like go out and leave your family and that 9 to 5. Do you know what I mean?
Leave the cat.
Leave the cat.
She's happy enough. But yeah, I think lockdown helped that though, didn't it? I think. And it's just, people don't need to go to the office and stuff. When I was in Cardiff, I had an office and stuff, and you pay that every month, and then you go from home, you're like, oh, well, just do everything you can from home and save some money, you know what I mean? But sometimes it is, I think, good to have the separation from home and work. I find that a bit difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Say like the other day, when was it? Wednesday, I was working till like 9-10 o'clock at night and go home. I was like,
that's because you're self-employed though.
Yeah, you never switch off. You need to spend more time with me, blah, 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 blah. And I still need to find that balance sometimes. I don't do it every night. Like last night I wasn't. But yeah, that's why I have the office room. So it's like, I do work in there, but then when the laptop comes out, that's when it's a recipe for disaster.
I'm like,
that's when she's not happy.
To be fair, at home, I find it so hard to work at home.
Yeah.
Like, I've got like pure ADHD. Like, I'll just be like, right, what can I do not to do my work now?
Yeah.
So like, I'll go to a coffee shop or I'll go wherever and I'll do my work in there because I can actually like zone into what I need to do.
Really?
Have a coffee, do like what would have took us 4 hours at home in like half an hour in a coffee shop.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You see, for me, I get easily distracted. Like, I have to work. Like, I know the blinds are and that's shutting here because of the lights, but in that room up there, I have to put the blind down.
Yeah.
I just have to have the light off. I have to just focus on the laptop. Otherwise, like, if I'm looking out the window, I'll be like, oh, fucking hell. And
that's what I'm like.
If I'm in the coffee shop, though, I'll be like looking around at people and people watching. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting absolutely nothing done. So that's why I need like a dark room and just
with nothing. See, if I was at home, I'd be like, I wonder what the dog's doing. I wonder how many bananas we've got in the bowl. Like, just pointless shit. Like, oh, I'll go to the shop and do some shopping. It's like, I need to be out of like any thing where I might know somebody.
It's hard. It is hard, but it's just understanding yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose when you've got older, have you found like you're more self-reflective and you can reflect more on like when you were younger and you think, oh,
yeah, probably so. Yeah.
Do you understand yourself a bit more now than when you were younger?
I know when I need to stop. Sometimes I don't, but like I know when I need to stop and have a blowout. Like, I've always known this in myself. I'll work really hard, I'll train flat out, and I like won't drink for a bit. But then it gets to a point where it's like, right, I need a massive blowout with my mates and just have a night out, and it'll be out my system. Because if I don't, I'll just start itching and I'll be like not very productive.
Alright, 2 secs. I think that's overheated. 2 secs. Put it back on. I'll just have to give one more question.
Right, sound. Oh shit, man.
It's ringing you.
I'll just send them a message.
Yeah, so it's 5 minutes. That's the time now. 11:10. Right, as always on the podcast, we have technical difficulties. The GoPro overheated. I do need to get an actual camera, but I just can't justify buying it for the podcast. So, last question, what I want to say, you just mentioned then, is what's your opinion on alcohol? What are your thoughts on it? Or maybe your relationship?
In moderation. Like my mates, if I don't say anything true and honest here, he'll be like, you're such a liar here. So like, I can not touch it through the week, but if I go to the pub and have 1 pint, that's it. Like, I'm out all night. Like, it's coming in at like 5 a.m. kind of crack. So I just remove myself from the situation. And like, you can apply that to a lot of things in fitness. If you've got a trigger, then just don't have it near you. Don't go shopping hungry. But back to what you're saying about alcohol. It depends on the person, doesn't it? If you have an issue with alcohol, then you need to take that up with a professional or whatever. But personally, like, I don't have an issue with it. Like, go out, enjoy it. Like, you're never going to get these memories back when you're young, when you can go out and, like, you want to go out with all your mates and stuff like that, so you might as well just go and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
What's your advice to clients then about drinking and stuff?
I always say this to my clients. It's like, look, I'm not your dad. I'm not your mum. I'm never going to say, especially on dealing with clients that are older than me, like sometimes double my age, who've got way more life experience than me. It's like, I'm not your mum. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you you can't drink on a weekend, because I can't tell you to do anything. I can advise for your goal that I think maybe have 1 glass instead of 3 bottles if you try to lose weight. But yeah, again, it comes down to the person, doesn't it? I always say everything in moderation.
Yeah, I agree with that. And because for me, like I was the same. If I couldn't go out for 1 or 2, because I'm like, I
don't get it, eh?
I don't really
like do it.
I don't really like. I've never really liked drinking. I like being drunk.
Yeah,
and I'd be like same to you, like up to 5, 6 in the morning, and that's why it was holding me back from my goals. So I was like, I just need to remove it from the situation. And definitely. I'm very single-minded, so like if I want to do something, I'll do it, and I won't care what anyone else thinks. And it's better for me to just stop doing it than doing it like regularly. And now, because I'm so far in, it's just like I want to keep the momentum. And I feel like it would just be like what the fuck.
I've never understood how people can just like gone for a pint, finish the pint, and then go home. It's like it just doesn't compute.
Nah, it's mental. So that's pretty much it for the podcast. Have you got any closing thoughts or anything like that? Any plugs you want to do? Any social media handles, websites?
Just follow Shawbell Coaching on Instagram.
Cool.
That's be about it. But yeah, thanks for having us.
No problem. I've really enjoyed it. And if you listen on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like the video, leave any comments, comment your favourite part. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. And we'll see you next time. Bye.